AskReddit by horse-faced dipshit. What sounds like complete bullshit but is actually true. In 1978, a dolphin named Mr. Spark at Marine World in the SF Bay Area accidentally ate a bolt when some construction was being done on his tank. Surgery was too risky and it wouldn't be able to be passed. They had to reach in and pull out the bolt. With medical technology being what it was in the 70s, robots weren't an option and a dolphin's esophagus is really long. Here is where Golden State Warriors player Ray Flipper, love the irony, comes in. Out for the season for injury and with an 8-foot wingspan, he was called in, lubed up, and reached down the dolphin's gullet to retrieve the bolt without any further distress to Mr. Spark. And X200B. TL. An NBA player saved a dolphin by reaching into his stomach. That Marine World is now Six Flags, and they still have dolphins. I worked there for a summer, but to my knowledge the dolphins haven't deep-throated any NBA players since the 70s. For women giving birth to twins, the longest recorded time between the first twin being born and the second is 90 days. So, was she in labor for 90 days or were the twins in their own embryonic sac and the second twin's water didn't break when their twins broke? I mean, obviously that would have to happen if mother and baby survived 90 days. Details. I want details. Dragonflies experience up to 9 Gs when cornering. They are the most efficient predator, catching up to 95% of the prey they go after. They breath through their anus and most varieties. Not sure if that's the correct word. Can't walk. Thought you meant they experienced the fastest data speeds ever recorded. London, UK, is technically a forest, the largest urban forest in the world, and has almost as many trees as people. Forest by a particular definition as used by the United Nations and the Forestry Commission is anywhere that is more than 20% trees. London is 21%. Continuing the tree facts, there are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way. There's a species of jellyfish that is effectively immortal. https://em.m.wikipedia.org/wiki/teratopsis_doani. It's entirely possible that there's a jellyfish alive now that, if it hadn't succumbed to predators or disease, could have been alive since T-Rex walked the earth. Or millions of years earlier when Stegosaurus did. Or millions of years before dinosaurs were even a thing. Drinking beer after being exposed to some kinds of ionizing radiation can reduce the adverse effects. Road trip to Chernobyl. Orcas are natural predators of moose. In Alaska the moose swim between islands. Orca snap M. Deleted. There were mammoths after the Great Pyramids were built for 500 years. The craziest thing to me is the age of the Great Pyramids themselves. It always blows my mind, thinking that to many of the famous Egyptians that we know, the pyramids were already ancient to them in their time. Pyramids of Giza to Cleopatra is 2,500 years approx. The Beatles were only a band for 10 years. Their recording discography is only 7 years between their first and their last albums. They had two distinctly different eras, the mop-top years and the acid years. Yet they were only around for 10 years. Less than that is John, Paul, George and Ringo. The first and last photographs of the famous Beatles lineup were taken 7 years apart to the day the 22nd of August 1962 to the 22nd of August 1969. Every image you've ever seen of John, Paul, George and Ringo together was taken within that precise 7-year period. The longest manned, refueled flight in history was 64 days long. The aircraft used was a Cessna 172. My first thought was, wait, I thought they only had refueling jets for, like, fighter pilots and such. Then I saw a Cook Cessna 172 Endurance Flight JPG. 14 years before the Titanic sank, a fictional story was written by a man named Morgan Robertson. In the story, the ship was described as the largest ever built at the time. Same as the Titanic, it was also woefully short on lifeboats, and it also struck an iceberg and sank. The ship in the story was also a triple screw propeller liner, and it was named the Titan. That's mad. Did he ever say anything about after what had happened to the Titanic? Some plants' seeds need to burn in a fire before they can grow sprout. Edit. Here's a good read on periphytic plants. https://www.britannica.com/list/5-amazing-adaptations-of-periphytic-plants. Australia has entered the chat. The Siege of Alicia, where Julius Caesar built a wall around the city the Gallic defenders were defending from and then built a second wall to keep the Gallic reinforcements out. He and his army just hung out in between the two walls and eventually won the battle even though they were technically outnumbered 3-1. Caesar literally had multiple events in his life where his survival can be credited to plot armor. Another one was when he survived the siege in Egypt. He swam to safety evading the surrounding army and also managed to safeguard some important documents by keeping them over his head. The first major troop engagement during the American Civil War, the First Battle of Bull Run, took place on and around the property of Wilmer McLean in Manassas, Virginia, in late July of 1861. After the battle, McLean decided to move about 190 kilometers south to the community of Appomattox Courthouse, in Appomattox County, also in Virginia. Nearly 4 full years later, in April of 1865, a Confederate messenger completely unaware of McLean's prior involvement in the war, knocked on the door of McLean's new home and asked if Robert E. Lee might use the house on the following day to meet with Ulysses Grant and sign a formal surrender. McLean reluctantly agreed. Sometime later, Wilmer McLean is supposed to have said, "The war began in my front yard, and ended in my front parlor." A historical coincidence that I've always had trouble believing, but is accepted as fact. I've always found it interesting that we all know the surrender was signed at Appomattox Courthouse, and therefore picture Lee and Grant meeting at the courthouse. In reality, the name of the town is Appomattox Courthouse. They didn't meet there because the courthouse was closed on Sundays, which is why they met in McLean's parlor. Colorado has a high Buddhist population due to the CIA training Tibetan guerrilla fighters in the Rockies during the 60s to fight the Chinese communists, but then abandoning the plan. Near me there is property owned by Buddhist. Nice house with a giant temple they built and a large collection of statues of gods and goddesses. About a month ago they had a party for their newest structure. Not sure what it is, but it's like a small castle. Cool stuff to drive by every once in a while. Edit. Forgot to say, I live in Colorado. Which is why I saw this relevant. Sharks have existed on Earth for longer than trees have. Deleted. All the planets in our solar system can fit between the Earth and the Moon. Yeah, but it would play havoc with the tides. Paint on a plane can add 601,200 pounds to the weight of the aircraft. That's why the Space Shuttle external fuel tanks, https://en.wikipedia.org/space_shuttle_external_tank (), which were originally painted white, https://wiki/file:/space_shuttle_columbia_launching.jpg were subsequently left unpainted, https://wiki/space_shuttle_external_tank/media/file:/sts-3_launch.jpg No one born after 1935 has set foot on the moon. Or before 1923 for that matter. 1923 to 1935 is the birth year window. There are more tigers in captivity in the US than in the wild worldwide. There are more Panda Express locations in the world than living pandas. If sound could travel through space, the roar of the sun would be deafening even though it's 93 miles away. I remember reading stories of people born deaf that gained hearing later in life through technology that were surprised the sun didn't make any noise. Squirrels can be ferocious killers that snack on those adorable little chipmunks on occasion. Squirrels will eat anything. I once saw one munching away on a sparrow. I would love to know if he caught it or found it. There is an island of the coast of South Carolina that you're not allowed to go to due to mass population of free-range monkeys with herpes. Asbestos was only banned in the UK in 1999. The unbelievable part is asbestos was known to be dangerous as far back as the ancient Egypt, about 2500-3000 BC, and X200b. It only took us 4500-5000 years to ban it. And X200b. Edit. Oh wow, over 1000 upvotes. Am I an influencer now? In all honesty, it's pretty cool, people dig this. Another fun fact. The ban on asbestos happened 25 years after the introduction of the Health and Safety at Work regs. Until then, the use of asbestos disproportionately hurt and killed poor people. Not exclusively, but disproportionately. With this new law that could jail people who put their employees at very high risk, the use of asbestos was limited and eliminated. Funny that. Encouraging news for environmentalism and climate change, then. Clouds weigh hundreds of thousands of pounds. The air under a cloud weighs even more than the cloud itself. If not, the cloud would settle to the ground. One 18-inch pizza is bigger than two 12-inch pizzas. When I was in the Navy, we used to go into this mom and pop Italian place to get food all the time. They had great pizza. Early on, my friends and I always got the 12-slice pizza, because it was only a few dollars more than the 4-slice pizza. Then, one day after we'd been going there a few weeks, I got the 4-slice. My friends are like, not saving any for leftovers? I just told them, oh, I'll have plenty of leftovers. My pizza is the same size as yours. They called bullshit. When we got home and opened the boxes, sure enough, same size, just fewer slices. They asked how I figured that out. I told them, they only had one size box. The CIA did experiments with LSD on entire towns in the US and Canada without their knowledge or consent, dosing them to study the effects. Prisoners, minorities, prostitutes as well. Often it was very sexual. Project MKUltra. They procured 100 million doses of LSD for this shit. Multiple kilograms of the stuff. It takes about 0.0001 grams to be intoxicated, so yeah. The CIA also set up brothels with one-way mirrors to monitor and film men who had been unknowingly given high amounts of LSD. They filmed it all, and this was, no joke, called Operation Midnight Climax. And that's barely the tip of the iceberg with MKUltra. When I've told my friends or family about it, they look at me like I'm a flat earther or Sandy Hook denier. It's that level of wacky conspiracy shit, but it's true. Oh, and also this fuckery is almost certainly what led to the mental implosion and motives for the Unabomber who killed several people with mail bombs. Yay. https://en.m.wikipedia.org/wiki/mkultra. And from what I recall, it was discovered because of Watergate. They tried to destroy all the documents, but they found some of them. Woody Harrelson's father was a mob hitman who killed a federal judge and was locked up in ADX Supermax. Sounds like bullshit, but 100% true. Woody Harrelson also played in the movie No Country for Old Men, which makes a vague reference to that killing. Tumors can have hair and teeth. Deleted. Giraffes and humans have the same number of neck bones. All mammals have 7. From tiny mouse to, as you said, giraffes. Birds on the other hand have a lot more.